Hi, everybody. It's Barry Mayer from You've Got Leads. I am hoping you can hear me and also see the screen. You should be able to view my screen at this time. It has login fields in the center, and you should also be able to hear me. So normally what I do with these GoToWebinars that automatically put everybody on mute is ask that you send me just a quick question or chat through your GoToWebinar control panel and let me know that you are able to hear me and see the screen. So if somebody, at least one person, could do that for me, then I could feel more comfortable about forging ahead and knowing that you can see and hear. Awesome. My friend John and Pamela say that they can hear me, and I recognize both of those names. Welcome to this training. And you're getting me today because I am recording this session officially. So just letting you know that, and we will maybe use to post for other trainings and recorded sessions and so on. So I chose to conduct today's training for just the attendees that will be joining us, and it looks like pretty much everybody that signed up for the training is now here. But I greatly appreciate that, and you guys confirming that you are able to hear me, and we will get started right on time. It looks like it's 1 o'clock for all of us on the East Coast, and I know that we talk to users all across the country at the time, so some of you might be in different time zones, but for our West Coast friends, it would be 10 a.m. in the morning. Okay, so again, for everybody who just showed up, my name is Barry Mayer, and I'm with You've Got Leads, and if you're here for a You've Got Leads 101 new user training, then you're at the right place. It looks like a couple people have their hands up. I will try to unmute you, and then you can actually speak if you want, or you can send me a question through the question feature. Hey, John, can you hear me?
Yeah, but I didn't mean to ask a question. I'm sorry.
No worries at all, my friend. It's good to talk to you again. I'll go ahead and put you back on mute, but no worries at all. And there's 6 or 7 folks on the call too, so pretty tight-knit group. I keep these relatively informal, but I do make it so I provide the necessary and most comprehensive information that we can get to for the You've Got Leads program and training, as if you guys are all new users, right? Some of you might even be existing users, but this will be a great refresher for you, and you'll probably learn some new things too. And we'll do this all in about an hour. I'll try to keep it to about an hour just because I know even me, myself, when somebody's teaching me something and it goes much beyond 40, 45 minutes, my eyes start to gloss over and it's difficult to retain new information. All right. So I'll get to the nuts and bolts and meat and potatoes, as they say, quickly within the training, so you'll at least walk away knowing how to add a lead, how to assign a source, how to track a task, how to enter a note, and all of those types of common functionality and features that work and you'll be working within this program. All right. Okay, so without further ado, I'm going to move my control panel off to the side here. And if you have a question for me, just send me a chat or type up the question in the question feature in the GoToWebinar panel and then send it that way. I'll try to get to each one as we move through, or I'll connect with you on a one-to-one basis if it's something more involved. But we are here at our login screen, and just for clarity and confirmation's sake, you want to be going to https://crm.you'vegotleads.com. For any existing user, you might have just typed in www.you'vegotleads.com and you're taken to a screen that looks like this. That isn't necessarily incorrect. We have some legacy users still that are using the legacy platform, and this is where they log in. Very soon, over the next few weeks, this will just be a link for all users that will take you here. So this is the site you need to be at. You'll know you're at the right place just because you have login fields with white space around it. And the only difference is it's crm.you'vegotleads instead of www.you'vegotleads. Okay, so hopefully everybody's clear on that. CRM is what you want. Now, if you need to or reset your password because you've forgotten it, then you would want to click Forgot Password, put in your email, click Send Instructions. So hopefully all of you at this point have walked through those steps and you've set your password. If you haven't been able to log in or set your password, then you'll want to reach out to us or me or support, and I'll make sure you know how to do that. Everybody will get an email from me after this call, just recapping. I'll include the link to the recorded session. So if you want to revisit it, if you have so much fun that you want to watch it over again, then you can do that. Or if you need something to put you to sleep, you can watch it again. And this will probably be helpful for that too. But anyway, in all seriousness, I'll send you the recording and you'll have that at your disposal. But what we're going to do now is go ahead and get logged in. And that takes us directly to the home screen, of course, and the dashboard. That's logical, right, so far? And now we are looking at the most up-to-date version of You've Got Leads. If you hear somebody refer to it as YGL 3.0, that is the same thing. 3.0 is the latest version, okay? And as a new user, when I log in, I can probably, begin to familiarize myself with the site, even just on my own a bit. But what we'll do is look at all these main sections here in today's training and make sure you understand how they work and what a user is doing within these sections on a daily basis, right? So, home screen, dashboard, we'll take a look at that first. We'll also touch upon leads, how you filter and use these filters, how you add a lead. Your tasks section has task search and calendar, right? Task search is giving you a grid or a table, if you will, of all the tasks that you have either to complete, so these are incomplete, or you could nix that and I could see every single task I ever completed, right? Or that is incomplete in the program. And we'll talk about that. Task calendar, it defaults to your week view, but I know a lot of folks like to use a calendar versus a simple table, right? And they might want to see their day's view and see everything they've got to do for today, August 23rd, whatever the case may be, right? Sources, this section helps you track your professional sources. So YGL does a nice job of assisting sales staff, marketers, but also liaisons within the senior living housing industry, track those folks that they're working with, communicating with to receive more leads. And that would be somebody like a discharge planner at a hospital that's local to you, or somebody else that's a referral agency, or maybe there's other professionals that you communicate with, attend meetings with, even have appointments, meet for coffee, because they are such great referral sources. So that's where you're tracking all of this information. And we'll talk about the difference between saving a task for a source versus tracking and saving a task for a lead. Those are two different things. Also, inventory, I will touch upon inventory. I will not spend too much time on this, and the reasons are basically twofold. One, not all accounts use the inventory module within You've Got Leads. And also, like I said before, it's a lot of information to take in. Inventory is pretty specific, and I will include 2 short videos, like 5 minutes each, on how to set up inventory and how to delete unwanted units or even change units after you've set it up. So I'll make sure that's included in the follow-up email to all of you. And then, of course, the report section, this basically will take care of itself and allow you to generate good reports as long as you're entering leads, tracking tasks, assigning sources, tracking appointments with sources, and so on. And we'll look at some of the most common reports. All right, let's circle back around and get to our home page again. So when I log in, I see a big lead search field here at the very top. This works to allow you to quickly find a lead record within your You've Got Leads account. If you had access to multiple communities, you could click the drop down here, choose all, and you could search across the board. But if we're just or I shouldn't say just, we are a valued marketing director at one community, right? And we are supposed to be maintaining a high occupancy there, then we would by default see the community that we work at listed above. And I could start to type in a name, even part of the name, and it's going to find everybody with JOH in their name, whether it's their last name, first name, full name, whatever, which is great because now I could click here. I could jump into that lead's details, look at their activity. I won't bog you down by, doing any of that right now and get off the beaten path here, but I just wanted to show you that you can click on the name. So if I type in the name Gary, then it's going to find all the Garys. And if you see, wow, well, that doesn't have Gary in the name. Why is it returning in the search results? That's because it's finding lead records that have secondary and additional contacts with the name Gary as well. Right? So that's pretty awesome. You can also search last name, phone number, zip, email, and hot buttons from their lead details here in the lead search section. Right? Now, as I scroll down, I will see different dashboard items and cards right here on my dashboard. Some of these are more action items, and other items on the dashboard are more for your information, right? Kind of like this one, projected occupancy. This is for your information. It's really not an action item, although you could take action based upon what you're viewing. Like if you saw in the 6 months ahead, your occupancy percentage is going to be down to 50%, you might wonder why that is. And the reason is because you would have a bunch of scheduled move-outs in the program. So the projected is your pending move-outs and move-ins that are taken into account, right? The current is based upon the units that you've entered into You've Got Leads and everybody that's in the units. So your current residents and how many vacant units you have. So you can see that that's more of a kind of FYI type item, but then I've included some items that are more action items at the very top. And I've done that on purpose by using the customized dashboard widget on the right-hand side. So I can move these around. I could put my latest leads at the top if I wanted to. It's pretty intuitive. You just have some arrows up and down at the top after you've clicked on the item itself, and then choose OK. I also can toggle on and off these items as well. So if I want one of these to disappear, I just toggle it off and choose OK, or toggle it on to make it reappear. And so there I just pop my latest leads to the very top. And John asks a good question. He doesn't have all the categories on his home screen. Will they populate as I start to use the program? Yes. So certainly I can connect with you and what you're seeing too, if there was anything specific to your account, John. However, that's a good question. If you don't have, like for instance, anything in appointments, that means there's just no appointments scheduled, right? And I'll show you the difference between an appointment and an all-day type task snapshot. Also, if you did not have any latest leads, or if the latest leads is blank, it's simply because there's no lead that's in the program yet. You're starting with a blank slate, right? If you have a brand new You've Got Leads account. So, but good question. Now you should have, you should definitely have most of, or all of these items though, like sales pipeline. This is a nice feature. It allows users to quickly capture all leads that are in a certain sales phase. So let's say you have 100 leads in here and 12 of them you haven't made contact with. You can see that, right? And I could click there. All blue text in YGL is a link to further information. So if you see blue text, you know that is a hyperlink. Now I just filtered automatically by all leads in the no contact made sales phase. And that's important because these leads are all open and I still haven't made contact with them, right? And some of them are A leads. So I may want to definitely try to do that. Now I do have next tasks scheduled with them, as you can see there. One of them is due today, right? Now I can bounce back to my home screen. And a little bit of underlying theory or reasoning behind why we put these three items here: the latest leads, upcoming appointments, and all the tasks. That's due to user feedback. And because users have said, look, 3 of the most important things we focus on that are relevant to right now in our CRM are all the most recent inquiries that we receive, what we have to do, as far as an appointment like today or the next day, something that's relevant to right now, and things that I've scheduled at a specific time and duration, as in I've promised to be somewhere. I've promised to call somebody. I've promised to meet them at the front door and help them through the community and tour. That's a significant appointment, right? Beyond just hoping to get to this 10 emails that I want to send. That's the purpose of your upcoming appointment. Also, your task snapshot is here, and they said, well, we also like to see everything, right, as well. So you have a task snapshot that just gives you all day type tasks as well. So that's the point of your task snapshot, be able to see the last 20 items, and I'll show you how to use that as well. Now, for the upcoming appointments, you'll notice that intuitively, I can click on the plus sign or this text, and it pops down some more details. If I said, well, okay, I got it. If I click on that email, yes, it'll open up a brand new email for me. What if I were using a phone and I opened this up? Yes, you could click on the phone number and it would automatically call the number. But you may want to edit this appointment in some way, right? So there I would pinpoint my little pencil at the end of the row, and that gives me all of the details about the appointment, right? Tells me the type of task. If I needed to change the type of task, I can do that with certain tasks. The system, due to the sales phase, programmatic updating, and also details related to certain tasks, won't allow you to simply change a call to a move-in, for instance, or change a move-in or move-out or transfer task or something that requires more details that set up occupancy correctly. But all of the other types of tasks, you can simply change the type up here. For instance, if William called and said, you know what, I can't tour, I can only have a phone call or something like that, then you could change that. Right? The task detail is right here. Every task, whether it's with a lead or a source, will have a details field. This is not the comprehensive notes section where you enter paragraphs of notes and copy and paste emails if you do that. This is simply a small or short blurb about the task itself, right? So will need to move quickly or something, whatever pertains to this task, and is relevant to this specific action item. That's what goes in the details. Now you can assign the task to somebody else. It will automatically default to your username, having the task assigned to you if you're logged in as you. But I could reassign this to somebody else, and then it would be in their task list under their username, and it would show up in their calendar and so on, right? The due date, that is set easily by clicking the calendar item here. Now this is set to today. Maybe they called and said, we want to reschedule. I could move that to tomorrow. Also, something to pay attention to and notice here is the all day task box is unchecked. And I'll say this a couple of times within this training, but to categorize a task as an appointment, all you need to do is uncheck this box. If I check the box, you can see that the specific time and the duration is grayed out. So it doesn't allow me, I'm actually trying to click on this and nothing happens. But once I uncheck the box, that becomes an appointment, and now I can set the time. All right. If I have a wheel on the mouse here, I can quickly scroll up and down, or I can just choose it. Right? Maybe they said, you know what? We're going to have to reschedule. Now, once you set the time, I need to be diligent about clicking the set button. Okay, so you click set there, and that's actually what sets the time in the field. And then here is just a simple drop down to change the duration. Okay. All right. I may need to add some notes here. I can do that right from editing this appointment. And now I've edited my appointment accordingly, and I simply choose Save. Any Save button will do. And that's going to save all these edits within the program. And now I can see I've moved that tour to tomorrow. See that? And so now you can start to get a sense of how you use this program even from the dashboard, right? Once you have appointments scheduled and tasks scheduled within the program with leads and or sources, you can see this type of appointment is scheduled with a source contact type. That's in parentheses right there, right? And he is from XYZ Home Care, just a generic data in here. And this is with a lead. That's how you know. Okay. And when we add a brand new lead record to the program here, I'll show you how to add a task and also add an appointment. And we'll do that in just a few minutes. I normally try to get to that before the half hour is passed. Scrolling on down, I may say, okay, you know what? I have these four red activities here. So that means they should have been done yesterday, right? Now, I could drill into each one of these tasks or go into their lead details. Remember, I mentioned that. Blue text is a link to further information, right? So that would take me away from the home page. But you might ask, what if I need to edit one of these tasks? Well, I could click the pencil over here. What if I want to complete this task right from my dashboard? What would I do? Well, I could click the radio button or the circle, and that brings up my details, just like an appointment, but the difference here is this is checked. This is an all-day type task. Now, I should put in something here in the details, right? And this was due yesterday, so I'm going to say this is done. If I check the radio button and I got the green check, that'll default to done yes. I could ignore the start time and duration because it's an all-day type task. I could include any notes that I want to. Click Save, and that'll complete that task. And the system will actually prompt you for the next step. So how cool is that, right? So I'm going to schedule a follow-up call. I just choose the type of task. Let's see. It's assigned to me. Due date. He said he'd be available Saturday. We didn't schedule it at a specific time. I could schedule it at a specific time by unchecking the box and choosing the clock. I'll just leave that checked. Done no, because this is a task for the future. And save it. So there, I have just completed one of my tasks and scheduled another one, right? So pretty cool. I've done that all right from the dashboard here. And you can imagine if you're on the go using a mobile or handheld device, that's super handy, right? And we could continue on working and perform that type of activity on the dashboard. But I know that this is all information and I guess training on if you have some data within your account. So let's start to talk about how do you enter a lead from scratch? And how do you assign the source? How do you create a source? How do you enter tasks after that, right? So then you see some of these appointments on your dashboard and you see leads. Well, when you log in and if you have a blank slate or you're starting brand new, then what I would do is click Add Lead, and what everybody does, right? If they have some leads to add to the program that aren't auto-populating. So I'm clicking Add Lead here, and that brings up my Create New Lead page. And I will go through this in some detail, since this is a new user training officially. I don't want to skip too many steps. So what we'll do is we will add a lead with all of the comprehensive information. I will create a brand new source from scratch right from this page. And then we will track what we've done with the lead thus far, phone calls, emails, whatever, and we will enter a next step. So we'll do all of that right now. So the first step was getting logged in. The next step was clicking Add Lead. The next step is to start completing these sections. So when did the lead inquire with us? Yes, I could backdate this. They might have inquired 2 weeks ago or whatever. For today's purposes, we'll just keep today as the inquiry date. Lead status, hot, warm, or cold, A, B, or C, whatever your account reflects and your preferences, that's what you'll see in lead status. And that's set by you. It's kind of how you decide whether they're hot, warm, or cold. If it's hot, they might be very interested and ready to make a move, tomorrow kind of thing. Inquiry method, this is not the comprehensive source. This is simply how they chose to reach out to you, right? And in this instance, it was a phone in, but there are other options here. Maybe they just pointed the car in the driveway and walked in. Lead source, something I really like about this new and improved You've Got Leads is that you are able to start typing text in the lead sources field, and it will find any lead source with that name, right? So once your lead source library is built out, then it's super easy to add sources to a lead that are existing within your account. You just start typing what you know about the source, and it should appear, and you just choose it, right? However, since we're all new here, what if you really don't have any sources and I want to add a lead? Oh man, I've already tracked some information. Do I have to back out of creating this new lead, go over to sources, create the source, then assign it? And in fact, you do not. I can continue to forge ahead in a linear fashion, right? Logical workflow, and choose this little plus sign over to the right. That brings up a source management window. I will by default have all of these categories. Every single You've Got Leads user that signs up will have these categories in their source management. Now I need to decide the most appropriate category. For our example today, I'll choose the most common category and most used, and that's professional. I know you have these other ones too with subsources, and they work the same way, but I'll choose 19 subsources, the link beside professional. And now we need to decide what's this next level down where this source is coming from. Is it a local adult day center? Is it an agency association of some kind? Is it a competitive assisted living facility or community? We just would pick the most appropriate subsource here, right? So let's say it is a local assisted living, obviously not yours. If you work at an assisted living, it's another community that is not a good fit for a family that's kind enough to refer you the family. So we'll choose subsources by assisted living, and then we'll see which ones we already have in here. So these are all individual sources that are professional that work at assisted livings. And we see either this page would be blank, guys, if you're brand new, and like I said, your You've Got Leads account is blank. So you would have 0 people from assisted livings and just have these breadcrumbs at the top, and you would have add new source here, right? Or if you've added some sources or we performed a data import or something like that, you might see some in the list. But the point is, for us newbies, we would add new source. And that brings up your source detail page. Now, something I've had users ask me about is, hey, why can't I add a new org? It has independent in there. Well, you can. You just need to start typing. I mean, I can literally just start typing and add the new org, right? Or if you see that word independent, I could click the X. But you definitely can just put your cursor right in this field and type in whatever the org name is, right? All right, so let's think about this. I'm just making up a name here, guys. Okay. And now we've added the name, Haven Hill. And this name is asking for the actual individual or person you're communicating and working with at this assisted living community, right? So let's go ahead and add a name here. Let's see. I've added so many names lately. It's not coming to me to add new ones. I don't think I've used that. Job title, maybe executive director. I'm going to check the box, use the following address as a default for company or organization. For the most part, that box should be checked, I think. It's more common than not because most of the time the company you're working with as a source will have one address. You may have multiple individuals related to one company, right? Like physicians, discharge planners, admissions coordinators, whatever at the local medical center. But as far as the address for the company, it's probably the same, right? And now we want to add the address for the source. And the city. Maybe a work phone. And now we've filtered out as much as we can. It's an active source. We click save. And we'll give the program just a minute because we did a bunch of stuff there. Right? And all we have to do is locate this in their list now. So this is in the list of assisted livings. We see our friend Vern there and simply click add to lead. Right? And that'll add the source and assign it to my new lead. All right? Now remember, I am recording the session, so if you didn't catch everything, don't worry about feverishly typing or writing down notes, unless you want to, because I'll send this to you and provide it to you afterwards, and so you can go back and revisit this if you need to. You know, that's honestly one of the most involved activities that you'll perform in the YGL program, and that is creating a brand new lead and adding a source from scratch to the program at the same time. Right? But we did it. And once you do it once, you'll think, wow, that's super easy. Primary contact. This is the actual person that you're communicating with, right? This is like the adult child, the son, the daughter, the close family member, friend to the resident, right? This is probably the person who first inquires with you. And historically, and with all the data crunching that people do, we've seen that most times it's the daughter. That's the number one primary contact. The next is the son, maybe even daughter-in-law, I don't know. But so we'll type in something like Aaron, let's see. It's kind of a unique name. I don't think I've used that one before. If I have, it'll warn me of the duplicate, so that's nice. Now we'll type in an address here. Put in a zip code. Actually, that's my hometown. And the relation to resident, Erin is the daughter. And then, of course, we would track as much of this information as we have, right? I'll make sure the email's bogus. Phone number. Maybe a mobile phone. and then a bit about the resident themselves. So who is the resident that Aaron is inquiring for? Okay. If I needed to, I could track initial note here. I mean, the note will save, or maybe I'll say primary note. Okay. So everything looks good, and I've tracked as much information as I can up front with the create a new lead page. And now I will click create. And there we have it. We have created our first lead within the You've Got Leads program. And it does include all this information I've tracked in the purple header at the top. So we've got now lead details, and that's the page we are on. You can see it's underlined in green. I will be going to activity very quickly so we can track the tasks that we've performed and what we are going to do for this lead. Here is the save button here, and I also can click expand all. So that will expand all of my sections below. And you can see they're nice and big. They're pretty easy to fill out and read. There's some other stuff here, or little check boxes if you have any custom fields for the primary contact. And I could track that there. Anytime you see a green save button, that'll save the entire page, not just the section. We put these everywhere because we understand you don't want to have to scroll up or down to the bottom. The resident details here. Here is the address if you want to track the address for the resident, right? And a lot of this type of information is drop downs. The date picker and You've Got Leads is pretty simple, pretty easy. I can scroll up and down the months if I need to. Something like an age or the birth date, I probably want to zoom out for a range of years instead of scrolling through the months. Okay. And these types of drop downs pretty familiar to us all, right? And you can see once you're familiar with these sections and completing a lead's resident profile and details, you can bust through this quite quickly. And I can save as I move along. Okay. Hot buttons is a searchable field now in the updated You've Got Leads version, which is great. It's something that users have asked for many times. Just took us a little bit to get it in here because we needed more powerful search. And that is something that is available now in 3.0 or the new version. So let me think of a unique, well, that's a unique word. So the unique terms are searchable in hot buttons, really any term, but if you said, this person, let's say, prefers floor, about first floor only, something like that. You could search by that later. And it gives you a little confirmation that you've saved the lead or saved your updates. Financial information. Luckily, this is not an accounting or billing system, it's a lot easier than that. And then if you need to track any additional contacts, you can do that. The very first contact beyond primary and resident, of course, is called secondary in YGL. And yes, secondary and all additional contacts are searchable, and they will return results if you search by names that you've put in here in the leads page. Okay. So maybe there's a relative or a nephew or somebody else that you're tracking here, and we'll save it. So we've been successful at saving the updated information as best we can on the lead details page, right? We've assigned the source. You can see the source right here. And now what's the next step? Well, if I tried to click off of this lead, it will actually stop me. See that? It says, please add a follow-up task. Because we understand it would be easy to just to think, oh, I'm done. I've added the lead, I've assigned the source, I've tracked my initial note, I'm going to move on. Well, that wouldn't be that great of a thing to do because then the lead could potentially fall through the cracks, right? Having no follow-up activity and tasks scheduled or completed or scheduled for the future. So what we want to do is access the activity right here and then pinpoint new task. So click new task. And then here is where I can track any task that I've completed or I'm going to do. Now for this, I'm going to choose call because I called them. Right? And I'm going to complete this one because, and I'm going to say I made contact because this is what I've done thus far. I'm a proponent of tracking everything you do in the CRM and what you've done up until the point you need to schedule something else, even if it's a new lead. I know there are some users out there that consider just adding the lead as the initial task and then they'll schedule their first follow-up to do in the future. But for me, if I made a call to somebody and I talked to them over the phone, I'm tracking it. All right, and then I'm going to choose yes, save. And that completes that. I can see the little phone icon, which signifies that I did make contact. Otherwise, there'd be a little answering machine there icon that says I left message. And it's still giving me the stop sign, and that's because I need to enter a next step for the future. And that's done the same way. I just don't complete the task. So I pinpoint new task. And let's say we want to schedule an appointment this time, right? Or even an appointment itself. Right? Erin said she'd like to meet with me before they commit to a tour. But this one, you promise to be somewhere at a specific time. So that's why it's so nice that you can do that within the program, right? And how do I do that? If you were watching the appointment categorization and tasks from the beginning, I bet you could tell me, yep, you just uncheck this box. Now that's not grayed out anymore. It's available, right? And I click the clock. And she said, you know what? I have time at 4 p.m. on Monday, the 27th. Probably take me an hour and 25 minutes or something like that. Right? And I'm going to leave that done, no, choose high priority. And in fact, you know what? I'm going to change this. I'm going to make it for this Saturday, simply because I want to show you that it will show up on the dashboard. And then I'll save it. Okay. So now that gets rid of my stop sign. I can move on if I don't have other notes to track, right? I do have a question here. Pamela, good question. Does the source also list the lead company? Maybe you could clarify for me. Were you referring to the source company, not the lead company? If I click the, I can see the org there. So if I click the name of the source, gotcha. Okay, that's what I thought. And thanks for the clarification, but good question. So yeah, and I'm glad she asked because I hadn't done this yet. You actually can click on this source bubble here. So, and you can see the org there. And I could, if I needed to email this source, even while I'm working with the lead, and I say, you know what, I want to email them in real life, then I could do that just by clicking this hyperlink. Also, I think the developers actually, and based upon our consultation and with users, and that question is relevant, is they're thinking about including some of the source company name here as well. I mean, I know you can click on it and see this information, but it might be nice to have that listed here with the source. So yeah, good question. Now, if I wanted to add some more notes, I could click New Note. Right, and I could choose a note title. I don't have to put a note title in, right? So I could just say meeting Aaron for coffee. Okay, let's see. I'm going to just put appointment here, and I could add a tag. To add new tags, guys, a lot of users ask this, and I think it's an appropriate question because it might not be quite obvious. You literally just start typing, okay, into this field, and then you get the plus sign, and you can add whatever tags you need to. And I've added these just as options and examples. So I could tag it, right? I could associate a note with the task, and then add note. And it will automatically stamp it. Okay. With the username. And you should have the ability to edit your own notes and delete your own notes. If you don't, let our support team know, and they can give you that option. Okay. So if I clicked edit, it would give me a chance to edit this and save it. Or if I deleted the note, it's going to warn me, are you sure you want to delete the note? Okay. All right. So we've added a lead. We've created one from scratch. We've assigned the source. We've even created the source. We've tracked what we've done thus far. So we've included a call task, and we've tracked what we're going to do in the future. All right. Now, if we did go back to our home screen, you'll notice that our appointment here is there now. See that? So that's how that gets populated in there. These appointments and these tasks, they all pertain and are linked to either a lead or a source. Does that make sense? So if you're a brand new user and you log into You've Got Leads and you have no leads or professional sources saved in the program, then you won't have any tasks either. So really, lead contacts and records and source contacts and records come first. Then you track the tasks and activities and follow up to those types of contacts, leads and sources. That's what causes things to show up here. And I can see here the email and the name. If I click the little pencil, there's my appointments, details, and so on. Okay. All right, so I know that's a lot of information. All of that stuff is important. So we got to get through it, and we did it. So great job. But without further ado, and I know I wanted to try to keep this session to about an hour. Certainly I can go past that to get everything in it. And then you are able to stick with me as long as you can, right? I totally get it if you have other things scheduled and you want to come back and view the recording. But I've accessed the leads tab here, and what I want to do is just quickly go through some of the filtering capabilities and how that works. Now, if you recall, I did click on the sales pipeline feature way back at the beginning of this training and the no contact made. That's why we still show 12 leads. It does maintain that filtering persistence throughout the program, so it'll show you the last filtered search results. Now, you may say, well, how do I get rid of that? How do I bring back every single record I have? Well, you've applied one filter, so a quick way would be just simply click the X, and I see that I have 703 leads, right? Now, the program will default if you haven't set any filters on your leads tab yet, whether from the dashboard, clicking on the sales pipeline feature, or choosing a filter, it will default to all open leads. That's what it'll show you, and that is by design, okay? It's by popular user request. It's kind of the 80-20 rule. 80% of our users want it that way, so that's what we give you. The sales activity, you go to move-in status if you've cleared all or the open leads aren't showing, and you simply choose open. This excludes closed in and moved in. So this is what will show by default when you have leads in YGL. This is why we still get a question sometimes that, hey, I can't find this resident when I search. Or I know this lead is closed, I've searched the name, I know they're in here, but it won't return in search results. Well, that's because the move-in status is set to open. It's showing you the leads that are still open, excluding closed in and moved in, or closed and moved in, right? Now, to set other filters, that's really easy. I just make sure I make my filters window available. I choose sales activity. Maybe I want to say, show me all leads that are open that are in the pre-tour sales phase, that are a lead status of hot or A. So now I can always see the filters that I have applied right here. This is important, guys, right? Because as a user, I definitely would not want to have to go back and try to find the boxes that I've checked. Maybe I've filtered by 7 different criteria, right? You can always see the filters you've applied right here. If for some reason they weren't showing, it's because you've collapsed them. So just make sure they're showing. I mean, you can collapse them if you want to manually, right? Now, an easy way to get back to showing all of my open leads would simply be check or click the X. Now I'm back to 472 open leads, right? So some things that are great about 3.0 or the new version's filtering are, I love how they show you the applied filters, and you can choose multiple criteria under one filter at the same time. You could never do that before. It was individual lists. But here, this is much more advanced or more modern way of filtering. Like under lead status, I might want to see A and B leads at the same time, just excluding C leads. And I can do that. I can check both boxes. Now I see them up here, right? What about all open leads, A leads, B leads that have inquired this month? Okay. How about this month? Let's see. I'd choose the from date, so August 1st. Custom days, it's the 23rd day. Bam, there they are. Maybe I want to just see all open hot leads this month. I could X out of B leads just like that, right? And I've got 12 records. And the inquiry date will always default to showing the most recent lead that has come into the program. Or I could sort it. There's my first lead this month. They inquired on August 2nd and on down, right? So hopefully you start to get the sense of how powerful the filters are for you. And once you're more familiar with the landscape and how to use the filters to your advantage, you can quickly narrow your searches, right? I could even save my search. I could save my filtered set. So I could name this something. All leads in August open and A leads, whatever I want to call it. Just start typing there, save it, success, filter saved. All right. Now maybe I clear all, or this is what's going to show. I'll show you what will be by default showing the next day when you log in. It's going to default to move in status open. So I've been successful at logging in. I've caught up with everything that is super critical and important right now. And I say to myself, hey, I want to grab that list of leads that came in this month that are all hot and open. How do I do that quickly? Well, if I would have saved a filter set, I can choose from my drop down here, and there it is. Right? Having just filtered by this 3 criteria right here. Right? Now I can start to work these. I could export them to Excel. I could send them an email. Right? So your export to Excel is up here at the upper right-hand corner. There's the group task features down here. So if I click the @ symbol signifying email, that allows me to track a group task for all these individuals. And I can leave that must-have email there checked if I want to. So I mean, whatever you send, you could track the regarding. That's the details, right? Now I'm going to delete the date just to bring back a lot of leads because I'm going to choose this mailing labels, right? And I can use 5160 or 5162. The 5160, 8160, same size. They're the ones that are a lot of labels on a page, like 30 or something. Avery 5162, that's the one that has like 9 on a page. And these two numbers, exactly the same size labels. It's just laser or inkjet printer, which really doesn't matter. All right, filter out incomplete addresses. I probably want to do that. I'll show one address line. It helps clean it up a bit. And then I'm looking good there. Export. Now it will automatically give me my group mail task wizard and table or window here, so I could track that I sent all these folks a mailing and complete that task in one effort if I wanted to. But here are my labels. So I'm convinced this is the easiest to use mailing labels maker in the world. If you've ever used others, even Microsoft Words is not nearly as easy or intuitive. Now, it doesn't give you a lot of bells and whistles and different colors and templates and the ability to put flowers and everything or pictures on the labels. And I get that some might want that, but it just makes it quick and fast and easy. I will add one thing. If you are printing these, which of course you are, they're labels, right? Once you have the appropriate label sheet in your printer, I can't help you if you have a printer that's 25 years old and is barely working anymore. But if you have an up-to-date printer, a couple of things to note. One, do not choose fit. Always choose actual size. Okay, these labels are set to their factory settings, so they should print on the label itself. So you want to make sure it's portrait, and actual size. I think sometimes people will choose fit for some reason, right? Also, you want to choose quality settings at least normal or best. If you choose draft or if you have other actions like fast print or something, and that's when your printer goes super, super fast, don't do that because it might print the label or the actual text off the label, the names and the addresses, right? So choose at least normal or best quality and actual size. All right. That's a little bonus. Sometimes I don't go through that in labels if I'm training on You've Got Leads, but I know it's relevant, and I would too. A lot of marketing directors, CRDs, other folks at the community will be generating labels all the time. Right? All right. Wow, you guys are awesome. Every single person who showed up to the training is still here. That's amazing. Thank you for that. If you have any questions, and we will be wrapping up soon, then you can let me know. Just send me the question through the question feature. But let's go over and look at some tasks and calendar. And then we'll generate some reports and we'll be done. So tasks, same layout as leads. You got your filters over here. Now remember, all of these tasks will get in here. If you don't have any now, that's simply because you haven't created any tasks for leads and or sources, right? And you can see the contact type right here. These are tasks I've completed with leads. These are with sources. And we've already walked through how to do that. I will show you actually how to complete a task for a source too. But you just pop out your filters by default, just like this, the program will show you all open leads, right? By default, it's going to show you all incomplete tasks. So if you said, well, I want to see all the stuff that I've done or I've completed, like maybe for today, show me that, right? Well, then you would go and look tasks scheduled for today. I love this filter. I like that they added this. Yes. Choose yes, scheduled for today, right? And I could even go to task status complete. So this is everything I've scheduled for today and everything I've completed today. So if I uncheck the incomplete, so now all I've done is check task status complete and task scheduled for today, yes. That's a quick and easy way to see everything on this page here that you've completed today, right? And of course, there's our task we completed today with our new lead. Now, if you said, well, okay, well, how do I get back to all of my incomplete stuff, everything I have to do? Well, I could either clear all or just X out of this complete schedule for today and then go over and choose incomplete again. Now I'm back to showing all my tasks. This is the default setting and default view for you. Upon logging in, it will by default show you one applied filter in your tasks, and that's all incomplete. I can see these are past due. Okay. Now from here, I am able to complete these. I could click the radio button just like we can on our dashboard or the home page. This is an all-day type task. If I wanted to make an appointment, I just uncheck it, right? But if I complete that, I track some notes. It's going to prompt me for my next step. I'll schedule it for the future, save it. And now you can see how quickly you can start to track this information and catch up, right? Pretty cool. You said, well, okay, I know how to add leads. I know how to track tasks for leads, but what about tracking tasks for sources? Well, once you've created some sources in the program, then you'll have some data within this section here, which you just have a few filters at the top for sources. And once you've done that, you'll see that, okay, I've created sources. Remember this page here, right? That's adding a brand new source. Now I can click off that, yes. And there's also a manage sources. It gets us to our main source management. But when we've added some sources, remember blue text is links or a hyperlink to further information. This is a source detail page instead of lead detail, and source detail have activities just like leads do. And you can see all the task history, what I've created thus far, and my next step, right? So if I deleted that, yes, I'm going to delete it. the process to add a task for a source is the same process. I would pinpoint new task. Now the tasks themselves are a little bit different to sources, right? A source is not somebody we are individually moving through the sales pipeline to move them into our community. It's a professional within the community that we're working with to receive new leads. So that's why they're a little bit different in tasks in some instances, right? Like you're not making sales call appointments to families really. So this is a sales call appointment. Let's see. Meet to discuss open leads. We're going to meet them tomorrow. It's a high priority. I promised I would meet them at, let's say 8 a.m. Save it. And there you go. Now for leads activity and source activity, there are these two icons here. This gets me back to my task search table and list, and this gets me to my task calendar. So if I chose calendar there, chose the week, right? Then I can see what I've got coming up. Now that I'm in calendar, guys, you can see that the sales call appointment I just scheduled with Marge Atwood, a source, is right there. And I've kind of double booked that, so I'm going to move this over. I could move this somewhere else. I love that about the new platform here, and that is that you can drag and drop these tasks. So if I want to drag these somewhere else, I can do that and reschedule them quickly, right? I said, oh, this task here, I want to update. How do I get to it? Well, just click on it, click once on it, and that takes you to the details page, right? Oops. And if I want to go back, just click here. I can go into any one of these activities and then update that activity. For your calendar, you say, okay, well, I'm looking at all incomplete stuff. What about completed tasks? Well, I could just simply X out of that, and that brings back everything. So here are all the tasks I've completed for this week and everything I still have to do. And of course, you have a month view and also a day view as well. So here's all this stuff. If you see a big number like that, that means there's a group task in there. Okay. All right, so I mentioned that inventory, I will share that information with you through additional 5-minute videos. Super simple. And I will make sure that everybody on this call gets those videos. Okay. It does have audio as well, just to warn you if you're watching them somewhere you can't be loud. But yeah, it's good instruction. And if you have any questions, you can always reach out to us. Now, before I generate a couple of reports, I do want to mention, once you're successful at logging into your account, the best way to reach out to support is through the help link up here at the upper right-hand corner. And when you choose help, that'll bring up this window here, and you can start to search for something here, right? I could look for, just typing something in here. Well, I can't find that. Okay, how to add, maybe I'm looking for how to add a lead or whatever the case may be. I might be able to find it and click right on the link and self-help. But if I can't, then I click contact us. All right, and here's where I enter some information about myself. Now I'm going to send this through. They'll know this is me, but it does actually create the ticket. The other thing I would mention is try to include a direct phone number for you, or at least some way to contact you. If you don't, then we just have to do research to figure out the best way to get a hold of you. But if you do submit a ticket through the help, or you just click contact us, submit us a question or issue, it will create that ticket reference number. And it'll send you an email to your inbox as well, right? Which is great, because then you can refer to that ticket number until your issue is resolved or your question is answered. I did get a question about the mobile app and when will that be here. Yes, so we are creating the mobile app. You are able to log into You've Got Leads even on any handheld device. Even right now today, if you simply browse to the site, if you went to crm.you'vegotleads.com, you would get there and you could log in. But we understand that's not the same as a mobile app. So they're nearly finished with it. I want to say by the end of September, we will have the mobile app ready. It could be end of September, beginning of October, so right around the corner, but we'll make an announcement. Everybody will know about it. And then you'll be able to go to the App Store and download it. It doesn't cost you anything, or it won't cost any existing users anything to use it or download it. It'll just be there, and we'll update you all. All right. Okay, so I really appreciate you guys showing up. I'm going to generate some reports here, so you can stick with me while I do this. Of course, I will give you all the time you need, but I know that now that it's past the hour, some folks might have some other appointments and things on their schedule. But I would say the activity report by week is probably the most utilized report in You've Got Leads. I think for good reason. Gives you a lot of information right in one report, right? Gives you a nice summary week by week for the entire quarter. You can choose the start date of your week if you start your week on Sunday, so you go Sunday to Saturday or whatever the case may be, and then you report that next Monday, or you go Friday to Thursday. But this is showing you the start date of the week, and then all the metrics that happen within that week. So this number 10 here on August 19th is the first day of this week reporting. So this is showing you there were 10 calls made between the dates of 8/19 and 8/25, because the next week starts 8/26. That's how you read this report. If I clicked on that blue text, it would show me my results here of these calls. This many calls, I couldn't do anything. Like literally it was, I guess, the wrong number or something, because I didn't leave a message or no one picked up, right? 2 of them I left a message, and 5 of them I actually made contact. And these are all to leads, inquiry synonymous with lead. You said, well, what about outreach or source tasks? Well, that table is here. So these are all calls, emails, even source tours, outreach tours, or sales call appointments that I've made in any given week to my sources. So anytime you see the word outreach in YGL, that pertains to sources. Inquiries pertains to leads. And then also you have referral information at the bottom and how many leads have come from each one of these referral categories. And granted, once you have more data in your account, then these reports will make more sense, right? Or not that that may be the wrong term. They will be more useful for you and meaningful. I'd say meaningful is a good word. The more data and accurate, comprehensive, complete data you have in YGL, the better the reports will be. Marketing dashboard report, this kind of grabs a lot of metrics and puts it into one. I can generate this by the week or the month. If I run it for the month of August, I love this report, guys, I have to say, because it gives me all of this type of information, in these side-by-side grids or tables. I've got selling activity for the month thus far. outreach activity. Selling activity, this is all to your leads, outreach. This is pertaining to sources. And then, of course, these tables are pertaining to your leads. By unit type and care type at the top, that is pertaining to your occupancy type data. Now, it does look like there's one unknown. If you have not tracked a unit type or something, or haven't completely filled out the occupancy task details, then it will show you a row of an unknown. And you see that text is blue, right? Yes, it is. And that's a link to further information so I can see who the culprit is, right? Okay, so there looks like there's a scheduled move-in task. I'm going to click on the task. Should take me to Frederick's page. I'm going to reload, just making sure. Okay, got it. So move in. Let's see why. Okay, so there's why there's an unknown. That's the reason it showed up as unknown in that report, is because as a user, I neglected to track the unit number. So I need to do that. Make sure the care type is correct. If the care type were incorrect or did not match what I have in inventory, it's going to warn me. Now I can save it. And if I went back to my marketing dashboard report, wait for it, hopefully, yes, this is what we want. We see the unknown is zeros across the board. That means that we've tracked a unit number for each one of our occupancy tasks. Okay. And there are plenty of other reports here. Activity report by week, dashboard, task report completed. This is a big time report. Everybody uses this one. And I like it because you can look at all tasks quickly that have been completed in any arbitrary date range. Okay, like for instance, I want to see all tasks that I've completed since July 15th for some reason to today. I could choose a specific task if I wanted to, but maybe I'll leave it as task type all, Community Vista Ridge of Seattle. I could look at just my username too. Or if I'm overseeing the entire community, I might want to see all tasks that all users have completed in any time frame, then run the report. And it's maybe a little bit big of a report if we completed a ton of tasks here. So it's all users in the last month and a half or so, or a little longer than that. And there's some really good columns here with the task itself, what type of task. It includes the details, the regarding field, contact name, right? If it's a source type task, it'll include the company here. Completed date and the owner of, and these are sortable actually. So I just sorted by company, so I could just bring all the source tasks up to the top. See that? So that's pretty cool. And I can export this to Excel if I need to, or to PDF. All reports are exportable to Excel and or PDF. Okay. All right, so I will officially wrap it up here. But if you guys have questions for me, I'm not going to hang up immediately, so go ahead and ask away. I will do my very best to answer your questions. If it needs some more direction or one-to-one help, that's fine too. But definitely use the question feature and let me know whatever questions you have, okay? So I want to thank everybody officially for joining me and sticking around. You guys were awesome and excellent. Well, thank you, Pam. We appreciate you guys, I know. And John, you too. Absolutely, my friend. It's good to see you on here. And Stephanie and Trisha and Courtney and all the others. So excellent. Well, I'll let you all run and thank you. Looks like my demo site is updating right now. Perfect timing, everybody. Awesome. Okay. Well, have a great day and we'll talk to you very soon. Thank you very much.